Jamuna tira bolo Charu. Jamuna tira bolo Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Maharaj, Hare Krishna. So, we would like to welcome all the participants for this weekly association of His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Guru Maharaj. And today we are starting a new seminar, that is a lecture given by Srila Guru Maharaj on Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya. So all the devotees are requested to kindly hear attentively, and at the end there will be a short quiz. So all of you are kindly requested to participate. Hare Krishna.
Krishna Hare Hare.
This afternoon, Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON. How many of you have got this book? Okay, how many of you didn't get the book? Okay, so collect it from Gaur Hari Prabhu. We have the copies. How many of you got a chance to read it already? Okay. And yeah, it's first of all, I'll say that it's a very scholarly writing. Ravindra Sarup Prabhu is a scholar. He is so his way of presenting, and mind you, do you know how long it took for him to come up with this book? How long it took him? It took him 3 years. And do you know how long it took us to come to this point? It took us about 6 years. In ISKCON, we have a wing called the Strategic Planning Committee. Strategic planning. The strategic planning simply means strategically plan about future. How to move this, how to take this movement forward. And we have to plan in advance what we're going to do in future, how we are going to direct this movement. So in 2006, we had a meeting of this strategic planning in Italy, in a place called Prabhupada Desh. And there we formed different committees. And one committee is Srila Prabhupada's position. Srila Prabhupada's position. And few of us joined that committee. And those who are really concerned about Srila Prabhupada's position and how it can be established properly in ISKCON. So we got involved in that committee called Srila Prabhupada's Position Committee, SPPC, Srila Prabhupada's Position Committee. And twice a year we had been having our meetings. Once in Mayapur during the annual GBC meeting, and also in October as the midterm, during the midterm GBC meeting. So, and we had very in-depth discussions, sometimes very interesting discussions. I was even quite surprised and shocked to see that some devotees even felt that we should not put Srila Prabhupada up too high, because then ISKCON may become like the Christianity. Jesus is God. Like we may deify Srila Prabhupada. Anyway, we spoke very strongly when such points came up. The main point that we had is that no matter how much we glorify Srila Prabhupada, is not going to affect the structure of ISKCON at all, because we are not glorifying Srila Prabhupada as God. We are glorifying Srila Prabhupada as God's pure devotee. And the difference between Christianity and us is, in Christianity, Jesus' instructions are not there. So, that point is completely baseless. Because first point is, we are not, the question of deifying Srila Prabhupada, meaning making Srila Prabhupada into God, will never happen, because it is very clear in everyone's mind in ISKCON that Srila Prabhupada is the pure devotee of the Lord. That's the glory of Srila Prabhupada. Another point is, they say, if we take Christianity, then Christianity, probably you know, the Christianity developed this misconception that, and as a result of that, Christianity became divided into two groups in the early days. As the Orthodox, Greek Orthodox, and Roman Catholics. The Roman Catholics presented that Jesus Christ is God. Whereas the Greek Orthodox maintained that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. Anyway, that misconception entered in there. But in ISKCON we don't have that possibility. Because in Christianity, Jesus' teachings are not recorded. Bible is not what Jesus said. Bible is what the apostles, Jesus' followers, presented as Jesus' teachings. Whereas Srila Prabhupada's teachings are inscribed in his books, in golden letters. So there is no room for any misconception in ISKCON. Prabhupada's books are the basis. Anyway, devotees do come up with different points and we do deal with that. But the main point is that as the pure devotee of Krishna, we can glorify Srila Prabhupada to an unlimited extent. And the more we glorify Srila Prabhupada, better will be for us and the world. And besides that, the most important consideration is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's prediction that Krishna consciousness movement would spread all over the world in every town and village. Did Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say that? Who is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now when God says something, can that go wrong? Whatever He says, that becomes reality. Like in Bible we find, God said, "Let there be light," and what happened? And there was light. God says something, it happens. So when He says that Krishna consciousness movement will spread all over the world in every town and village, will it happen? Yes. How many of you think that it will happen? Very good. So it will happen. And it has already happened. It already started to happen. And how did it happen? It happened through Srila Prabhupada. Look what Prabhupada had done. At the age of 70, he went to America, where he didn't know anybody and where he did not have any money himself. In such uncertainty, do you go to some place without any money and where you don't know anybody? And going to America in that condition, can you imagine what a amazing fit of courage Srila Prabhupada displayed in doing that. Going to America, the most expensive country in the world, without any money. And then he started this movement. It was not easy for him to start the movement. For 1 year, he struggled and struggled in America through the winter. Prabhupada, can you imagine? Prabhupada arrived in September. 17th September, Prabhupada arrived in America. Now September means summer is over. Autumn started. How is the weather in autumn? Starts getting cold. And then when it comes to winter, how it is like? And that also where Prabhupada was during winter, New York City. So, in such a severe situation, Srila Prabhupada just went to America and started to endeavor to spread this movement. And then, after 1 year of struggle, Srila Prabhupada was trying in every corner. Prabhupada actually thought that the elderly people, well-established, affluent people of New York will listen to him. And Prabhupada started in uptown New York, the affluent part of New York. No response. Then Prabhupada started to move down, and finally Prabhupada came to the downtown New York, Bowery. And who started to respond to Srila Prabhupada there? The young Americans who already left home. Those who were leading a bohemian life. No home, no money, no future, no ambition. Just live. Be here now. And Prabhupada taught them how to be here now. So this is how Srila Prabhupada started the movement. And then at the beginning, when there was some opportunity to get a building, Prabhupada wrote to his godbrothers, asking them to come, and jointly they could endeavor to spread Krishna consciousness in the West. No one responded favorably. And then Srila Prabhupada started to endeavor himself. When none of the godbrothers were willing to come and join hands with him, when Prabhupada was even prepared to give them all the credit, all the leadership, and he was prepared to become their humble follower. When nobody came, then Prabhupada started to act on his own. And he, with a handful of young Americans, he started the movement, registered it in New York as the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. A small little room, a storefront in 26 2nd Avenue, just a handful of young American followers, and Prabhupada is registering the institution, the society, the International Society. Small little storefront, probably, the size of this part of this room. Maybe a little longer. But width-wise, even, maybe even less. How many of you have seen the 26 2nd Avenue? Yeah. You know how small it is. But there, Srila Prabhupada started the International Society. The International Society. And for Krishna consciousness, International Society for Krishna consciousness. In America, who knew Krishna? The lawyer who was registering the company asked Srila Prabhupada that Krishna consciousness, nobody will understand. You rather call it the International Society for God Consciousness. And his followers also, these young Americans also, said, yes, I think that's a good idea, Prabhupada. Let's call it the International Society for God Consciousness. But Prabhupada's response was, no. I have come here to make them understand that Krishna is God. So that was Prabhupada's mission. To make the world know that Krishna is God. People say that they believe in God, but who is God? No idea. That's where they're fighting. My God is better than your God. Then other guys say, no, my God is better than your God. And they pull out their guns and shoot at each other. So it's all because they don't know who God is. If they had a clear understanding who God is, then would they fight like that? Never. So Prabhupada came to make them understand who God is. And he established Krishna is that Supreme Personality of Godhead. No matter in whichever name you address him, if you truly believe in him, then you have to accept him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You may call him God, you may call him Allah, you may call him Jehovah, but he is that one without a second Supreme Personality. It's not that Krishna is an Indian God. Krishna is God. And Krishna is not just his name like that. Krishna means all attractive. Who is all attractive? God is all attractive. That's why he's Krishna. Who is all powerful? God is all powerful, therefore God is omnipotent. In Latin, God is identified as omnipotent. God is identified as omniscient. One who knows everything, omniscient. Omnipresent. Omni means all, and who is present everywhere. That one Supreme Personality. So Prabhupada came to give this message to this world. Now just consider the effect of this. As the world get to know that today's world has become very intelligent. And as the intelligent world become aware of that God is one without a second and this is Him, then what will happen? Everybody will accept it. Everybody will accept that God, giving up their misconceptions about their gods. And this is going to happen as a cultural revolution. Cultural and revolution of awareness. Becoming aware of God in a real way. That is how this movement is going to spread all over the world, as it is happening here. Like, did you all come to ISKCON because you have been threatened with a gun on your head? Join ISKCON otherwise. Did anybody do that to you? Okay. Did anybody bribe you? Some way? That come to ISKCON, you will get a good job. Did it ever happen to any of you? Did somebody say, you come to ISKCON and you'll get a beautiful wife? Did it happen that way? Of course, here the number of women are more, so I should have said that you'll get a beautiful husband. Did it ever happen that way? Then why are you here? Why did you join ISKCON? Does anybody want to say why he or she joined ISKCON? Ramananda?
Because I received the science of self-realization.
Good. Because he received the science of self-realization. The book or the understanding? The book gave the understanding. Yes, the science of self. Yeah, Mohini Priya?
Because we run the school, therefore we play is God.
Because?
We run the school, that who is God.
Yeah, because we understood who is God. So nobody bribed you, nobody forced you, nobody allured you. It's just allured you within material temptation. But with your voluntarily, you have accepted with your intelligent understanding, isn't it? Did you join ISKCON intelligently or blindly? Did anyone join ISKCON blindly? No. Some people may. Actually, I was saying that, bribing and things, or allurement, sometimes it happens. In the third world countries, poverty-stricken countries, people join, like in India and Bangladesh. Sometimes people join. Oh, if I join ISKCON, I can go to America. And they do join, they go to America and their life's mission becomes fulfilled. But the real mission is not to go to America. The real mission is to become engaged in devotional service to Krishna. That is why we all have joined ISKCON. So this is how Srila Prabhupada established a movement to enlighten the whole world. And as the world becomes enlightened, the more and more people will become actively involved in Krishna consciousness. And it's happening. Like, although ISKCON in last few years, last few decades have gone through, after Prabhupada's disappearance, gone through many, many difficulties. But still the movement is spreading. More and more people are coming, joining the movement. Like when Srila Prabhupada left the planet, there were 108 temples. And today, you know how many temples are there? More than 500 temples. So, it's growing. And that shows that this movement is here to stay. ISKCON has gone through various difficulties, but in spite of the difficulties, we have weathered the storms, as they say. The storms have been there, but ISKCON stood firmly, upright, without being affected by those storms. And as a result of that, what happens? When there is an attack and you withstand that attack, what happens? You become stronger. So these attacks are coming, but those attacks are making ISKCON stronger and stronger. And if we look at the history, like who started this Krishna consciousness movement? Who started this Krishna consciousness movement? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started the Sankirtan movement. And that was when? About 500 years ago. Prabhupada didn't start anything on his own. It's not something new that Prabhupada created. He is actually following Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. And actually it is not only him. He was following his Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And his Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, was following Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. And Bhakti Vinod Thakur is the one who actually revived this Krishna consciousness movement. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and inundated the whole of India with Krishna consciousness. Whole India became Krishna conscious at that time. But then came a time when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings got lost. And then came a dark age when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings were completely lost. So much so that educated, cultured people did not want to have anything to do with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan movement. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings got lost. And it was completely covered, eclipsed, because some unscrupulous people, in the name of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, introduced all kinds of nonsensical activities. Like, how will you feel when somebody comes and tells you Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is promoting meat eating? How will you feel? And how will you feel if somebody comes and says Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is promoting intoxication? Somebody help her to switch off the phone. If somebody says Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is promoting, how will you feel if somebody says that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is promoting illicit sex? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is promoting gambling. Now mind you, that's what was going on in the name of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teaching. In simple words, illicit sex, intoxication, and all that. Now if that happens, if that was going on in the name of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement, will any of you join Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan movement? Or not even Sankirtan, that was not... So that was what's happening. Educated, intelligent class of people didn't want to have anything to do with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teaching. But at that time, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur came. A very, very powerful individual. Like he was not only a deputy magistrate, but a brilliant personality. A prolific writer, thinker, speaker, one of the brightest personalities of his time. And he came and he started to promote Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings. He printed, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur printed Chaitanya Charitamrita with his commentary, Amrita Prabaha Bhashya. The commentary, that is the flow of nectar. And then he wrote many books based on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings. He wrote many poetries, not only in Bengali or Sanskrit. He wrote in Bengali, he wrote poetry in Sanskrit. How many of you remember Bhakti Vinod Thakur's Sanskrit poetry? Yes, which one is that? Huh?
So, at the last retreat, you were doing, I can't remember the name.
Okay. Okay, Bhakti Vinod Thakur's Sanskrit poetry. I mean, there are quite a few. One that is very popular is Jadite Haripada Saroj Sudha Rasapana Param Hridayam Satatam Pariritta Griham Kalibhavamayam Bhajagodrumakanana Kunja Vidhum Ramani Jana Sanga Sukhancha Sakhe Charame Bhayadang Purushartha Haram Harinama Sudhara Sanit. So this is how, so see what a beautiful. And not only Bengali and Sanskrit, he wrote in English. And in a way, I feel that Bhakti Vinod Thakur's English poetry was even better than many famous English poets. First of all, they are presenting the most profound philosophy, and secondly, the way, the rhyme and meter, not many English poets wrote in that kind of rhyme and meter. Like, we often sing that song also. Alas for those who spend their days in festive mirth and joy. The dazzling, deadly liquid forms their hearts forever employ. The shining bottles charm their eyes and draw their hearts' embrace. The slaves of wine can never rise from what we call disgrace. Such a brilliant personality. Is he a personality from this world? No. These personalities come from that world, spiritual sky. These writings are not mundane writings. These writings are transcendental sound vibration transmitted from the spiritual world. So this is how Bhakti Vinod Thakur started to revive Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan movement. Then according to his prayers, Lord Jagannath sent him an able assistant Who is that? Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur took that mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as designed by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and he spread it all over India. 100 years ago, not 100 quite, maybe 85 years ago, he already established about 63 temples throughout India. So this is how the movement started to grow. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur established an institution called the Gauriya Mission. Actually, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur made recognize the importance of an institution. Why an institution necessary? Because when a personality, a great person, do the great personalities like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur and Srila Prabhupada come all the time? Personalities like that are available all the time? No, they come, as the word goes, as the expression goes, once in a blue moon. Does the moon become blue? So the moon may become blue, but not always. Once in a blue moon. A personality is like calm. But fortunate for this world, these three personalities came in succession. These three personalities came in succession as a divine arrangement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to fulfill certain mission. As I mentioned, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings were totally lost. Right? So who revived from the totally lost point of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur? He revived, he brought out the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then who started to spread these teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Now when Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur started to spread the mission, he pointed out the importance of an institution. Institution, what is the meaning of the word institution? Institution.
It's an organization.
Yeah, what is again organization?
An established.
A management structure?
For what? Management structure for what? Okay, institution means a collective body of many people. Individual and collective format. So that collective form is an institution. Now, see, personalities like Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur comes, as we say, once in a blue moon. Now, does such personalities continue to stay forever? Do they stay forever? No. But when they are here, they create a spiritual tidal wave. They create an inconceivable spiritual awareness. They create an inconceivable movement. But then what happens? After they leave, does it continue? It doesn't continue. After the disappearance of such a great personality, it tends to subside, go back to square one. So that it doesn't happen, that's why Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur gave so much emphasis on the institution. That means when he would leave the planet, the mission would continue. How? Collectively, by the collective endeavor. And that's why Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, before leaving the planet, you know what was his last final instruction to his followers? Collectively manage the institution through the governing body. But unfortunately, some of his disciples failed to understand the importance of that instruction. Rather, they felt that how can a spiritual movement, a spiritual organization run by a group of managers? A spiritual organization needs a spiritual head. And so they appointed a spiritual head. And when that spiritual head unfortunately fell down, when the head falls down from the body, then what happens? Can the body survive? Okay. That's what happened. The institution collapsed. And and as a result of that, what happened? They started the conflict among themselves. Now, why I am saying all this? Is it important to know the history? No matter how unpleasant it is? Or should we say, no, it's too unpleasant, let's not discuss. If we do that, then what will happen? We'll remain ignorant about the reality. Therefore, it is important. That's why I am telling, so that you become aware what happened, and from that you get to know what should be done and what shouldn't be done. So that is the purpose of this seminar. So Srila Gaudiya Math, that Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur established, disintegrated, fell apart. Now mind you, like most of his disciples, leading disciples, sannyasis, didn't fall down. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's, most of his disciples continued. One or two may have fallen down, but most of them continued. And they had their temples, they're continuing their spiritual life, they had a handful of disciples, and the spiritual activities are going on. So that way, individually the spiritual life was carrying on, going on. But the mission of spreading Krishna consciousness stopped. They were kept practicing their spiritual life in their own way. But the mission that Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur established of spreading Krishna consciousness not only throughout India, but throughout the world, fulfilling the prediction of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that came to a grinding halt. That stopped. Srila Prabhupada, our Srila Prabhupada, understood that mission. And that's why when Srila Prabhupada went to America, Prabhupada didn't just want to establish one temple or two temples, not even 100 temples. Srila Prabhupada went to America to plant the seed for spreading Krishna consciousness all over the world, that it spread to every town and village. Now Srila Prabhupada also was faced with that challenge. And he is the one who understood Bhakti Siddhanta, where Gaudiya Math failed. Gaudiya mission failed. Why they failed? Because they lost the institution. Prabhupada recognized the importance of the institution. Prabhupada also realized, maybe more acutely, because Prabhupada went to America at the age of 70. When you are 70 years old, how many years do you think you have? How many more years do you think you have? Not that many. Even if you live for 100 years, it's only 30 years. So Srila Prabhupada knew that he will not be here for too long. Therefore, what Srila Prabhupada wanted to establish? An institution. When he started to preach, even before any temple was established, he established the institution, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And it is that institution Srila Prabhupada put the absolute emphasis. Srila Prabhupada didn't care for his name and fame. Srila Prabhupada was concerned only about the welfare of the institution, effectivity of the institution. And Srila Prabhupada also, before leaving the planet, while present and guiding, Prabhupada established the GBC body. A format for collective management. And Prabhupada emphatically told us to manage the society through the GBC. Prabhupada made his leading disciples understand the importance of the GBC. Prabhupada emphatically pointed out the ultimate managing authority of ISKCON is the GBC. The ultimate managing authority. Now another thing that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, from him we can understand. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, before leaving the planet, did not appoint any successor. Meaning he did not say that he is going to be the Acharya after me, which was actually the common custom in India for spiritual institutions. The Guru would name his successor. And that successor would become the head of the institution. So the institution or ashram would be handed over to that person. That was the custom. And if somebody wanted to continue to preach, then he would set up his ashram, or preach or teach. He would set up his ashram and function that way. So small ashrams were there, and they were functioning that way. But what is the effectivity of that ashram? Handful of devotees. The Guru has 20, 30 disciples, and they would teach the disciples the science of spiritual culture. And they would hand it over to the next successor, and that's how it continued. But with Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, we see that he did not create a small ashram or few ashrams. He actually brought all the structure under one umbrella, and that is the institution. Now when that collapsed, the ashrams were there. Many ashrams also cropped up after that. But that umbrella that was needed to give protection to the devotees and expand the mission, that collapsed. So the point is, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur didn't want to hand over the ashram or institution to any individual. And so Srila Prabhupada also made it clear to us that he himself will remain the head of the institution for all time. And that is his position as the founder Acharya. Acharya, the Guru, spiritual head. So in ISKCON, who is the spiritual head? GBC is there as the ultimate managing authority. But the spiritual head, Srila Prabhupada. That position has been secured.
Hare Krishna. So thank you very much. I will just share the quiz link in the chat box. The devotees can take time to complete. And I will request as soon as Bhakti Prem Sai Maharaj to kindly read this quote to the devotees.
What is the life of a Vaishnava? There are three things that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu suggested that a Vaishnava is expected to do. Jive Daya, show mercy to living entities. Name Ruchi, develop a taste for the holy name. And Vaishnava Seva, serve the devotees. That is the essence of the life of a devotee. Meeting with disciples, Temple Darwan, 3rd June 2017. Sushma Bhakti Charu Guru Maharaj ki jai.
Hare Krishna, there is a quiz link in the chat box. Devotee can quickly take the time and complete this quiz.
Will you announce the result today or tomorrow?
Now only we can announce, Maharaj. It will take 5 minutes.
Next day, that charm is not there. Result is not. Okay. Give the chat link.
Hare Krishna. Murari Hari Prabhu, you can show a result. Okay, most of the devotee has completed the quiz. How many participated? Okay, 73 devotees participated till now. Okay, we can see quickly the result. Okay, first is okay. Murari Charan Pro actually make the quiz, so his is always at top. So first is Aishwari Radhika Mataji, then Jaish Prabhu, and then Choice Raipur. From Raipur, the student was there, Choice. And at fourth, don't know K, and then Mithlapati Prabhu from Raipur, I think, Juhu. Then Gaurav Prabhu, Giriraj Prabhu, and then Hare Krishna, Jahanvi Mataji, Surangi Mataji, then Anchal Vatre, Nilambri, and then Nagraj Prabhu, Shurabhi Sundari Mataji, Divya Damodar Prabhu, Mukunda Priya Prabhu. Okay. And then Parasar Sut Prabhu, Sudevi Mataji, Maharaj was there, Anand Chaitanya Prabhu. Okay, so this quiz will be available, will be shared in all the groups. So you can complete it later also. So just one announcement, like you know that every Sunday from 4 p.m. we are having this remembrance session of Guru Maharaj, and many senior devotees, many senior disciples of Guru Maharaj who took a lot of association of Guru Maharaj, they are speaking. And this week we are having His Grace Prabhanu Prabhu from South Africa. So this information will be circulated in all the BCS groups. So all of you can get the link from there. So I request all the devotees to mark the days like Sunday and this Thursday in their calendar, and please make sure to attend these sessions. Thank you very much. Jai Shri Srimad Bhakti Charu Swami Guru Maharaj ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anant Kodi Vaishnava Vrind ki jai. Vancha Kalpa Shri Guru Maharaj ki jai.